Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. Today we're breaking down what is kind of a stagnant middleweight division here. Israel Adesanya reclaimed his throne. Alex Pereira, the new life in the division, he's moving up to 205. What does that leave us with? Well, the Italian Dream, Marvin Vettori versus the Killer Gorilla, Cannonier. This is going to be a fun matchup, and this is going to answer a lot of questions, breathe some new life, hopefully, into this division, as I said. Folks, my name is Derick G. I am your host, welcoming, as always, my guy, the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe Bomber himself, the leader on our head-to-head competition, brother. How are you feeling going into this fight week, man?
Woo, Derick, I'm actually excited, brother. I was talking to a couple of the homies over here in Austin, Texas, asking them who they got for this fight card, and honestly, not a lot of them really had any dig on it. So that's why I'm excited to break it down for you. We consistently break down the future that's coming, but there's some people that are right here knocking on the door, like you said, of a very stagnant division, looking for a title holder, looking for somebody to take to dethrone Israel Adesanya, take that crown, man. This is gonna be a fun weekend, bro. You excited?
I'm very excited, and I'm excited kind of along the same lines that you are, because we just went from like extreme high to this card, right? We went from Charles Oliveira, Amanda Nunes, retirement, GOAT talk, to Marvin Vettori, Cannonier. But that's the thing, it's to the casual eye, it's whatever. To us, it's like, okay, well, whoever wins this, both of these dudes already got their shot at Adesanya. Vettori already had multiple shots. This is really going to be the determination of like, who is that guy that's going to like stay in that pack, and who's the guy who's going to be relegated, as we see time and time again, to fighting the new blood, the new 185ers. But with that being said, folks, we don't want to spend too much time lingering on the pre-show fight antics and things of that nature. We just want to give you the friendly reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, I mean, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, and share the show. Because at the end of the day, AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, this is your favorite fighter's favorite fight show, baby. Bloody Water Podcast. Tell the people, AJ, how they got to get in touch with the Bloody Water Podcast.
Favorite fighter's favorite fight show for a reason, folks. We're here week in, week out,
That's
consistently bringing you the same greatness, literally day in, day out, bro. We're here every single week for the UFC and other MMA events, and where you can get it, man, subscribe, hit that button down below. Also, if you're a fan of the Instagram or you're a fan of Twitter, make sure you hit us up over there too. Very active, especially my boy Derick, very active on Twitter. And again, a shameless plug for me, hit me up on Twitch, twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber. There's multiple sources, but if you need one, you can only think of one. BloodyPodcast.com. There's a button right over there. Go hit it. Hit the YouTube, man. Share it with your friends, like Derick said. Trying to get this ball rolling, folks. Don't get left behind.
That's absolutely right. And with that being said, folks, let's get into it. Let's talk about these picks. All right, folks, UFC Vegas 75 picks are up. If you are watching, of course you're watching, screenshot. This is your opportunity to screenshot it, because I'm pulling it off of the screen and we're talking about the madness at hand right here. Now, my man AJ, we got a couple of consensus picks right here. We do pretty good, if you don't mind me saying. We do pretty damn good on these consensus picks, but we got a little bit of contention as well. So real quick, I'm just going to name off the consensus picks. We're talking about main event. We're talking about the Italian Dream, Marvin Vettori. We like Armen Tsarukyan. We like Miguel Torres, something like that. And then we got Muslim Salikhov. Those are some good consensus picks right here. AJ, talk to the people a little bit about the thought process in these ones.
Woo, Derick, I mean, consistency with the first pick. Consistency speaks volumes, and Marvin Vettori consistently does it, even if he's a wet blanket. Tsarukyan, same thing, man. Boy is absolutely consistent, but a little more excitement in his fights. And you were right, Derick. Manuel Torres, man, this guy got bombs in his hands for me, but this one's a close fight. I'm really excited to touch on this one. The Nikolas Dalby versus Muslim Salikhov. I think don't let the old age of Salikhov fool you, folks. This boy can absolutely step in there and bang.
That's right. I mean, Kung Fu Master. Am I right? You know what I'm saying? Come on, watch out, bro. Watch out. All right, when we're talking about a little bit of contention, I'm not going to lie to you, folks. When I saw what the picks were when they were submitted, I was a little surprised. So let's talk about Armen Petrosyan versus Christian Leroy Duncan. We're going to break it down. Of course, I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going to leave anything else out there until we actually break it down. Armen Petrosyan against a dude who got power in his hands, bombs in the hands, but really hasn't had a first full scrap in the UFC. I think we got a steal on the money line odds for Armen Petrosyan. AJ talked to me a little bit about the Pat Sabatini versus Lucas Almeida. That's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be a very fun one, Derick. And this one all happens on who's the better one on that night. I believe the odds are looking a little something like Sabatini's the favorite. But to me, this is even money, folks. Don't let that underdog status fool you.
Once again, this goes to show why you could just go on ESPN and you could look at the odds and be like, I'm just going to pick with all the favorites. Or you could tune into a program like this and talk to the people who actually break down the tape to show you why these matchups are what they are. With that being said, folks, one more time, I'm going to pop it back up. This is the Bloody Water Podcast, UFC Vegas 75 picks across the board right here. It's going to be a fun one. And I don't think we should mince any more words, AJ. Let's talk about some scraps, baby. Let's get it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
AJ, the Italian Dream and Jared Cannonier are fighting for what? That's really the big question right here. We already mentioned it in the pre-show. They both fought Israel Adesanya. Vettori fought him multiple times. Cannonier is looking for that shot back. He really thinks that he could win this fight. But what are they truly fighting for at the end of the day?
Derick, I'm a little at a loss for words on this one too, because it's not number one contendership. I don't know what anyone in that division, in the middleweight division, would need to do to actually fight and claw their way to that crown. But I mean, I guess payday, ego, glory. I don't really know, Derick. Do you have anything else besides the itching and scratching of maybe I can claw my way up to that gold? What do you think?
I think that this is I have to win this fight because heavens above, somebody please beat Israel Adesanya so we can get fresh life and I can get my opportunity. This really does feel, in my opinion, like a division that without Israel Adesanya would be flipping and turning like the light heavyweight division, like 205. However, given that you have such a present dominant champion in Adesanya, and then you got Whitaker who's like right behind him right there, it just feels like this division's in a stranglehold. So what are they fighting for? I'm not particularly sure, but you know that they have to fight because everybody in middleweight's booked up right now. And then I think Jared Cannonier literally said it in the pre-fight presser. He's like, the UFC has to build new talent. I mean, this is kind of the way that you do it. You can't have the OG established guys beating all the young guns. You can't have Max Holloway beating all the new contenders, right? What does Volkanovski say? Stop beating all my contenders, bro. What are we talking about? But when we really break it down, I think that this matchup, in essence, is very much like the Jared Cannonier-Sean Strickland matchup, except Marvin Vettori now has an opportunity to bring back that classic wrestling. So do you view it from that perspective, or do you see this as a much more complicated, intricate matchup?
Nah, Derick, from the jump, I expect Marvin Vettori to be working that ground game, working for the wrestling, shooting, takedown, really holding down and sapping that energy level that Cannonier has, bro. Because you let Cannonier stand up and bang, this guy is going to put on an absolute show. So I'm expecting wet blanket Marvin. And we're not going to see angry Marvin swinging for the fences. We might get a little bit of that if he's not able to actually take down Cannonier. But I don't think that's the case, man. We've seen Marvin Vettori's wrestling do really, really well against people who are expecting it, as well as people who are willing to stand there and trade. And to do his best work, Jared Cannonier needs to do that. Set up traps, get the movement going, make sure Marvin gets tired, and then really put the hands to him, maybe a couple kicks. But that's his game plan. Unless you see a different one, Derick, is there any way Marvin Vettori can actually stand up, trade, sit in that tiny, the foot in the tire, and really get to work?
I mean, I don't see it that way, but I feel like I was going to ask you, I was like, am I kind of crazy? Because I don't really see wet blanket Marvin factoring in this equation. Now, when you look at Marvin Vettori's peripherals, he trains with Sean Strickland. It's one of the guys that he trains with, right? And maybe not at the same camp, but they have trained together. Well, Sean Strickland just came off of a very controversial split decision loss to Jared Cannonier, where numbers-wise, Strickland was up. And Vettori is very much that kind of fighter. You look on this man's record, he's not a knockout artist, man. He's either going to submit you or he's going to outpoint you to a victory. But the question becomes, can Vettori do that little sit and pick and dance game that he did against Roman Dolidze and squeak out a win against Cannonier without utilizing the ground game? Like, do you see it in the realm of possibilities? He doesn't have to sit in the pocket, foot in the tire, but skirt around the outside, calf kick Cannonier 1 trillion times, and then try not to get hit by the big blast that Strickland ultimately did get hit with. What do you think?
I at first I was shaking my head, Derick, because no, I don't think that's in the realm of possibilities. But then as a second glance, can I see Marvin being a more tactful Marvin out there? Okay, he's grown leaps and bounds since we've seen him start to perform in the UFC. And can he skirt around? For a second, I thought, man, Cannonier has the speed on him. But we have seen Cannonier kind of not necessarily be a lackadaisical fighter, not really plod around, but he'll chase you instead of cut off the ring. And I can see Marvin just being squeaky enough, being wiry enough to kind of get around that and make sure that Cannonier's fighting his fight. So can he do it? Yeah. I think the smartest game plan for Marvin Vettori is to sit there, take him down repeatedly, washing machine, up, down, drop those reserves that Cannonier has of his energy levels, and then really start to work and look for that submission or the ground and pound wherever he can. Because as much as we don't think this is a number one contenders fight, I mean, you put on a good show. You can almost grab that mic and be undeniable. Now, I say almost because I don't think anyone's clamoring for either of these guys. Yeah. But who else is there in the 170-pound division? Nobody. So
yeah, no, that's fair. And 185 pounds, that's the division we're talking middleweight right here. But no, that's a fair point. You're right. At the end of the day, you're right. Because, I mean, Vettori does have to be careful, though, right? Because you could try that heavy grappling approach early, and then you could end up like Derek Brunson getting your face smashed in with elbows by Cannonier. I mean, he just came off. That was an impressive win. But Derek Brunson, Marvin Vettori, two kind of different, classes of fighters at this stage of their career. I guess this is the question right here, man, is judging. It's out of our hands. It's hard to factor in judging when you're predicting a fight. We don't know what the judging on the night is going to be. We have to see, right? But going back to the Sean Strickland fight, if Vettori, who can be a much more tactful point fighter, he'll outstrike Cannonier, but probably won't out-significant strike Cannonier, if that makes sense. If he's able to get up on those points and do that, but Cannonier every now and then has that big burst where he's snapping Vettori's head back, and you could see it. It's more visible. Do you see in today's day and age, I'm talking about as we're recording this, what is today? June 15th or whatever, right? Are the judges going to give it to the couple big moments or to the accumulative volume that Vettori can easily put up? Like, what is your just kind of like intuition?
Man, intuition, I feel like it's even on the odds there, Derek. I feel like that should be one of the props going into fight night. Will the refs be in favor of control or will they be in favor of damage? Personally, man, my gut wants to say damage. My gut always wants to say damage, but I don't really know, man. And I think it's a coin toss, to be honest with you. Do you see it any other way?
I mean, I can't predict the future. So, yeah, you're right. I guess it should be even money. So, with that being said, that's the big factor that you got to play into this pick on whatever side that you're on. Cannonier won a split decision against Strickland. Strickland could have easily won that fight, and we would be having a different conversation. Either way, let's talk about the props, man. Plus 140 for a decision for Marvin Vettori. I think that's a fair prop. If you look at his last 10, I mean, dude's winning vast majority by decision, right? Jared Cannonier, plus 230 for a decision. So I think they're not particularly expecting Cannonier to knock Vettori's head off of his shoulders. You feel me? The key that I want to kind of hone in on here, plus 750 submission prop for Marvin Vettori. What do you think about that?
It's interesting. Rear naked choke. I mean, how many submissions does Marvin Vettori have on his record? I mean, I know in the last 10, he has two submission wins, both RNC or one RNC, one guillotine choke. But, so if Cannonier can feel that pressure, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, but man, don't forget, this dude, out of all of the finishes, he has most submissions. He has more submission wins than he has decision wins. 9 submission wins.
While I pontificate, can you look up how many of those are chokes versus actual locks?
Yep.
Because I feel like if we can drain the energy of Cannonier, that's what's going to be setting up those chokes. That's where the arms can slip in, get a little tired, get that doubt in your head to really creep in. You know, Uncle Chill always talks about, oh, go ahead. I see you got it. What is it?
5 chokes, man. Of those 9 submissions, 5 of them are chokes, guillotines, and rear nakeds.
So there might be something on that plus 750 odds, especially like I was just about to say. Uncle Chill always talks a lot of these chokes. Sometimes you're not really going out. You just want to be done with the fight. And not saying Cannonier is that kind of fighter, but sometimes when you're dog shit tired and somebody has on, you're just like, you know what? I'll take this. It's all good. I've been paid what I can. Don't worry about it. Just take a little nap, go to sleep. It's all good. Whatever, fake it until you make it, however you need to do. Not saying that Cannonier is that kind of fighter. And Marvin Vettori, he gets, your neck. You're in some serious trouble. So I could see a little sleeper on that plus 750. Not saying I would take it, but I don't know, man. It's a little juicy.
I think that Cannonier is going to be a very tough customer to be able to truly finish unless he gets wobbled, hurt, something like that. So with that being said, man, I'll just go with the Marvin Vettori safe, Caitlin Chikagian-esque pick. Give me the decision at plus 140. So we're going to go into another round of death taxes and Marvin Vettori by decision right there. How do you see it?
Unfortunately, Derek, I see it the exact same way as you. I've tried to replay this all day in my mind. Can Vettori get the finish on Cannonier? I think Cannonier is just too sturdy of a fighter. Give me Marvin Vettori and give me that plus 140 decision.
100%. All right, that's your main event, folks. I will say, don't sleep on Jared Cannonier, but I do see Marvin Vettori edging this one out. All right, man. Now to a co-main event that AJ, I had to play. You're talking about replaying things and scenarios in your head. I kind of had to think to myself when I saw this take place, and I said, why is this fight taking place other than nobody wants to fight Armen Tsarukyan? Can you think of any reason other than people are just not wanting to fight this dude?
That's exactly what I was going to say, Derek. He's a scary, consistent fighter. I mean, and credit to Joaquim Silva, because this dude's stepping up. You can look, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but you can look at those odds, and those are odds you never want to bet against, bro. This is quite a leap, but if Joaquim Silva, we've seen crazier happen, where Joaquim Silva can catch you on an unlucky night. 9 times out of 10, you beat him, you control him, you do the fight like Tsarukyan would like to. That one time, all it takes is one left hook, Larry, and you're going down. We've seen it happen before, Derek. Can Silva pull it out on this one?
Yeah, absolutely he can. I was going to say the scariest part about from a wagering perspective of a matchup like this is that this dude has nothing to lose. Plus 650 with the minus 1,000 comeback for the favorite, Armen Tsarukyan. At this point, Armen Tsarukyan can't just win. He has to win in devastating fashion. This is almost a lose-a-lose scenario for Armen Tsarukyan, because how does your stock raise when your last 3 fights were Joel Alvarez, monster, killer, Mateusz Gamrot, monster, killer, Damir Ismagulov. You just fought 3 of some of the most technically skilled fighters in your division. And then they say, all right, well, if you really want to fight that bad, if you really want to stay active, let's give you an OG that people don't even know people probably think this is a Joaquim Silva UFC debut or something like that. They don't know this dude has been established in this game. And what does Silva say? This is my moment, bro. I've been in the game for this long. They finally gave me my opportunity. So let's just play the hypothetical. Everything's hypothetical here, but let's play the hypothetical. Joaquim Silva catches Armen Tsarukyan, something crazy, wobbles him, ground and pound. He's done, right? Where does Joaquim Silva go into this equation of the lightweight division? Because you're immediately a top 10 fighter. Immediately, maybe number 10, maybe not give him number 8, but you're a top 10 fighter. What does this mean for him?
Ooh, Derek, no longer is there a ceiling. The sky's the limit at that point for Joaquim Silva, especially first round TKO, standing knockout, absolutely flash KO, however you want it. If it's in a powerful, expressive fashion, man, we'll be seeing a lot more of Joaquim Silva, especially, man, that 5 to 10 range in the lightweight division kind of seems to get overshadowed by the top 5. I mean, the Dustin Poiriers, Conor McGregor's, Chandler's, Gaethje's, all these top 5 that we literally cannot stop hearing about in the news cycle. I mean, if Joaquim Silva comes in, starts stopping people, stunting on them, literally making it the Silva show, man, we're talking gold very soon. But go against those odds. It's a hard one, man. It's a mountain out of a molehill, maybe.
Yeah, we just dreamed up a whole scenario right there, right? Because the reality is Armen Tsarukyan, at this point, he just has to defend his rank. The question is he going to try to do it in explosive fashion, right? Is he going to try to add another finish to the collection, or does he grind it out for an easy decision? I think he's trying to prove a point, but the hard part is trying to finish somebody in a devastating fashion who is a devastating finisher like Joaquim Silva. You don't want to mix that element right there. You don't want to fight fire with fire particularly. So what's the game plan? Look at the minus 125 TKO prop for Armen Tsarukyan. My only thought process is takedown, ground and pound, finish. Easy. What do you think?
Yeah, that's how it is for me too, especially at that minus TKO. We've not really seen, he has 3 TKOs, or actual TKOs and 1 KO in his last 10 does Tsarukyan. But Silva's a pretty damn good striker as well. Go over and look at his. This dude's got most KOs, submissions out of his, man. Or excuse me, no submissions, all KOs, all TKOs over on his finishes in his last 10. So, dude, that prop right there, dude, are we going to see them standing in a phone booth, trading foot to foot, knuckle to knuckle, actually getting after? I don't think so. The ground and pound seems a lot more presentable for the Tsarukyan side. I don't know though, Derek. I just don't see it as negative money personally myself, but I might be seeing something completely different. The ground and pound in the wrestling game of Tsarukyan is very top notch.
Yeah, I think that, like, for me personally, if I think that the question that I keep thinking about here is that how does the odds in the moment in the scenario impact the fight style? Joaquim Silva, you imagine if this is your moment, if this is the one moment you coveted, do you come out like it's any other fight? Or do you make it a bigger deal than what it is? Do you then say, I'll put it all on the line, I'll go out on my shield? If you go out on your shield and you're opening yourself up for that, then we might see a highlight reel KO by Tsarukyan, you know what I mean? I just think that you're right. You can't take Joaquim Silva lightly here. I think a lot of people are just overplaying him, but you do have to think, before he stopped Jesse Ronson, I mean, Ronson was giving him a little bit of issue. So if Jesse Ronson is giving you some issues, Armen Tsarukyan is a guy who was able to go toe-to-toe with some of the best people in the world. Let's not forget, very close fight against Islam Makhachev. Come on, bro. What are we talking about here? So I don't have too much to articulate more on this matchup other than, of course, you have to side with Armen Tsarukyan here. There's nothing that Joaquim Silva does on tape that really tells me he's a better fighter than Armen Tsarukyan, but it's not always about the better fighter. It's about who's better that night and who catches who. It's fisticuffs, baby. What are we talking about? Give me Armen Tsarukyan, clearly, right? However, I'm actually going to go a little juice, man. I'm going to take what I perceive as the juiciest prop on the night, which is plus a 325 submission, Armen Tsarukyan.
All right, Derick. No, I'm with you on the Tsarukyan pick. I don't know who said it. I don't know which fighter. I wish I could credit him. But if you fight for a highlight reel knockout, you're not going to win a decision. So I think Tsarukyan might play the safe card here and just work his style, get the win, and keep climbing that little bit of rank by rank as much as he can. Give me Tsarukyan and give me the decision. Plus 315.
Fair play. I will say that I think a decision win for Armen Tsarukyan does absolutely nothing. If anything, it drops him down a number on the rankings. I'm just joking. But I just think that that's how high the expectations are for Tsarukyan. Interesting co-main event bout here. Skewed odds, but I mean, hey, should be an interesting one. All right, bro. Let's talk about this fight right here. This is the one that I don't feel like a lot of people know about, but if you know, you know. Armen Petrosyan versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Now, we got a little bit of we were robbed of a real fun performance against Duncan versus Todorovic, right? It was fun. The lanky, powerful Dusko Todorovic was relegated to the back foot, while Christian Duncan was all front foot, steam ahead, looked like he was going to start mixing up the shots. The long story short, you stand and you trade with Christian Duncan in open space, it's going to either be a really short night or you're going to walk out of there bruised, beaten, and bloodied and battered. But AJ, my pushback here is that I feel like Armen Petrosyan, for whatever reason, maybe because he got 8-inch reach disadvantage here, they're writing this dude off like he's the UFC newcomer in this matchup here. I'm going to preface this conversation by saying I think plus 130 Armen Petrosyan is a steal for a money line bet right here. You have a more experienced fighter in terms of UFC experience. You have a better grappler. You have a better well-rounded striker in Armen Petrosyan. But then you got just that straight fuck you power of Christian Duncan that puts people out. So what impresses you about the short career thus far of Christian Duncan?
It's the athleticism, Derick. The athleticism of CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan, can come in and really have you seen him in spots where he just was. You know, I disagree with me if you think I'm wrong, Derick, but being an ex-basketball player is one of the most athletically inclined people. You have that fast twitch muscle. You still have a little bit of strength. You're not as blocky as a football player. You know, there's levels of athletic gift, if you will, that come with learning how to play basketball. And you can see it in Christian Duncan, bro. This dude's long, lanky, has the moves, fight like he's a couple weight classes down. And like I said, will not be there when you think he is, so you can't hit him. Now, that all being said, folks, whenever I saw this fight, I was breaking things down. I thought I was taking the gamble. I thought I was taking the underdog in Christian Duncan. But turns out, for some reason, the odds makers they're just seeing lights right now. There's stars above Christian Duncan's head, and they're excited for him. Don't get me wrong, there's reasons for that. But Petrosyan, Derick might be right on something right here. Petrosyan at plus 130 could possibly be a steal because he is very well-rounded. Do you see the athleticism that I'm talking about, that natural gift that Duncan has? Do you see that becoming a problem for Petrosyan, or has he already seen it? Excuse me for the stutter.
I think that, well, first I'll say the athleticism of Christian Duncan pops off the screen. You see it immediately. You're like, yo, this dude's going to be a star, bro. Like, if he can keep these fights standing, he's going to be a star. But I want to rewind a couple of fights for Armen Petrosyan, where he fought a dude that everybody counted, same situation. Everybody counted him out. He was going to get smashed. And I feel like you know who I'm talking about here, but I'm talking about RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez, right? This dude, world beater, fantastic jiu-jitsu, beast striker. When he throws everything into his shots. Armen Petrosyan weathered that storm, and he got the victory right there, right? And why? It's because while Christian Duncan, Gregory Rodriguez, these guys, they have phenomenal power, and they pick their shots very well. Petrosyan is just going to pick at you the entire fight. He's picking at you nonstop. And what's the other thing about Armen Petrosyan is he could fight off of his back foot. So if Christian Duncan does do the pressure approach, you have to watch out for that check left hook that's going to be there all night long. What's the other thing, too? Armen Petrosyan can grapple a little bit, brother. And Christian Duncan, like I said, open space, you look like an all-star. You look like a superstar. But what happens when that space gets taken away? Now, AJ, coming from the striking background, obviously it's much easier to fight explosively off the front foot. From your tape review, what have you seen from Chris Duncan off of his back foot?
Ooh, we didn't get to see much, Derick. We did see Dusko control a little bit of that. A couple of his other fighters. This dude just, if you let him get rolling, if you let Duncan get rolling, it's going to be a hard night for you to actually get any respect from him. But if you do, you start cracking him to the body, you start working those. What I think's Petrosyan's biggest talent that's going to be exploited or utilized, depending on which way you see it, will be the kicks. Shut down those legs, beat those legs up, a couple to the breadbasket, really working the legs and not letting those long arms start to cause detriment to you. I mean, if Petrosyan can do that, do you see him finding a way to win this fight?
Yeah, absolutely, man. You actually stole a little bit of my thunder. I was just about to talk about the kicks of Petrosyan. The kicks are nasty, bro. The kicks are nasty. But then again, you cannot get caught at the end of a Christian Duncan combination. You cannot. It's going to be game over. Even for an Armen Petrosyan, it will be game over. So I will just say this, man. I think Armen Petrosyan is a steal here. I think that this is one of the few times you're going to get him on these underdog odds after the Gregory Rodriguez fight. But then again, you cannot deny the star power that is Christian Duncan. I'm excited for just like his career. I want to see him develop. I want him to see him smash people. But officially on his record, English prospect, 8-0. I mean, he's surging. But you got these dudes in Armen Petrosyan. Where's homeboy fighting out of? Armenia? Come on, bro. Like, these dudes are different. They're just different. So over and under right here. This is my last thing before we talk about the odds and kind of, get the thing pushing here. Takedown average for Armen Petrosyan, 0, right? We ain't here to grapple. We're here to strike. How many times do you see him clinch up Christian Duncan and actually maybe try a little trip or something like that? What are the over and under on that?
Ooh, over and under. I'm going to say 6, Derick, and I take the over. I think he's going to work in that clinch and really try to get him down, get him into some waters he's not comfortable with and bloody them up, if you will.
Fair play. All right, listen, to props, right? TKO I want to analyze first. Plus 225 Christian Duncan, plus 475 Armen Petrosyan. I think that's fair. I think that's fair in terms of a prop, right? Here's the interesting one. Plus 200 decision prop for Christian Duncan, who is primarily a finisher. He gets everybody out of there round 1, round 2 primarily, right? I think cardio-wise, this goes 3 rounds. I think we're in favor of an Armen Petrosyan who has a plus 250 decision prop. So I just want to know from your perspective, why do you think they're giving Duncan the decision prop in terms of value?
I think it has to be the stars of the flashes of camera, Derick, the sights, because you're right. I mean, yeah, is he athletic and does he probably have that gas tank to really go the distance? Probably, but we haven't seen it. We haven't really seen him, especially under the lights of the UFC, which we know are a different game when you step in there against a technician, Petrosyan. Somebody's been doing it for so long that we know he can go all 3 rounds and still be bouncing around on his feet looking for counters. I don't know. I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. As the one that's going with CLD over here, the decision looks a little juicier, but I don't see it that way, Derick. I don't see it personally.
What's your pick?
Oh, I'm going Christian Duncan, man, and I'm going TKO. Make it early. Give me your round 1. This guy's going to the stars, baby.
I'll tell you, man, if he pulls this one off, bro, this dude, you're giving him some real. This is already stiff competition. You're giving him someone really real. Give me Armen Petrosyan. Give me that decision prop. Plus 250 decision for Armen Petrosyan. Once again, plus 130 is a steal in and of itself just for this contest. If you want to throw a little extra juice, go the decision. You know what time it is. All right, folks. Let's move on to another matchup right here. Fun featherweight matchup right here. Pat Sabatini hailing out of the great state of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, against Lucas Almeida. This is an interesting one because Lucas Almeida had to finish a former tough champion, right? Mike Trizano. He had to finish somebody who was coming on a little bit of a resurgence, Mike Trizano. And then Pat Sabatini is coming off of the worst performance of his career, where he just immediately, as soon as the fight opened, you get caught by Damon the Leech Jackson. Like arguably one of the most surprising upsets given how it happened. But then again, I see a lot of that same scenario in this matchup here, AJ. I think it's very clear. This is a grappler striker. Even though Almeida can do his thing on the ground, this is a grappler striker. And I think that Sabatini, if he spends too much time on the feet, it's over. Almeida, if that striking and flashiness and that pop on that crisp right hand that comes down, if that gets taken away, it's probably going to be over. Do you see it the same way, or is it a little more complicated?
Exactly the same way, Derick. As much as I don't want to put these two in those boxes, you can tell each of them are more comfortable in those exact boxes, man. Grappler and striker. It's how it goes. And you're right. If Pat Sabatini can see one of those strikes coming, because Almeida does have a very crisp 1-2, also a very powerful left hook. If you can see those coming, you do your tape, you see his tendencies, you can get on the inside, shoot to a hip, lock him up. Pat Sabatini can work, man. Pat Sabatini can seriously put you in some dangerous positions. It's can he do that, and has he had enough time to recover? I mean, it's almost been a full year since the Damon Leach performance. Not necessarily recover mentally, but recover, mentally, if you will. Has he gone past that? That's going to be the thing, man. And this one, to me, another very close fight, man. Now that we're getting into the deeper section of the card, these get closer and closer and a little harder to predict because especially for this fight, who's better on the night? Who's better stepping in there with a little more confidence, a little more bravado, and going to make the fight their own? Who do you think that's going to be?
I personally think it's going to be Pat Sabatini, depending, right, if he fights up to his capacities. This dude, Pat Sabatini, if he had not lost that fight against Damon Jackson, he'd be on a 7-fight win streak right now where he's just smashing everybody. He's joining the ranks of all of these other Philadelphia guys who are just killing it right now, right? But then you got Lucas Almeida, who's a destroyer in and of itself, right? In and of himself. A dude who, listen, man, he finishes guys. But remember when he ran into Daniel Zellhuber, right? Another fantastic prospect right there. Things got a little bit weird, right? You lost the decision. Things aren't always going to go your way, especially when you're primarily a finisher and it drags out into these long, ugly grinder fights. If anybody can grind out a fight, it's Pat Sabatini. The question, AJ, you got your face caved in by a knee on an immediate level change. Immediately, as soon as the fight starts, level change, boom, I'm rocked, now I'm finished, right? Does Pat Sabatini inadvertently, due to that mental PTSD, keep it on the feet maybe a little bit longer than he should in this fight? What do you think?
I think so, Derick, especially because if you look back at that Michael Trizano-Lucas Almeida fight, Trizano had Almeida in trouble, bro. In trouble. Seriously hurt in the first round. If Pat Sabatini could come out, do that, hurt him on the feet, get him wobbled a little bit, and then control the rest of the ground, we saw Michael Trizano almost, if he had about another minute and a half to really get there and work, he could have finished it. But it was just a bad timing, and that's how the game goes. If we see the same thing happen in round one, I think Pat Sabatini can put some serious work here.
But how impressive is it that Almeida was out like that and came back, and with the way he knocked out Mike Trizano was out of a cartoon. It was comical, you know what I mean? The dude fell out, oh shit, and I was just God damn, you got some power on your shots. I don't know, man. I'll agree with you. This is a very close fight, and it's whoever can inflict their will. And it's easy to say. That's every fight. But in this one, truly, two clashes of styles, who is going to do what? And then for Pat Sabatini, for an example, let's say you grapple him up for 2 rounds. Now round 3, you're gassed, muscles, arms, lactic acid buildup, and Almeida just starts teeing off. Who's to say? But I will say this, man. This is what makes it interesting. If you look between both of these guys, it's not particularly like Pat Sabatini is just going decision every fight. This dude's finishing a bunch of dudes too in early round 1. So is Almeida. So I think it will get interesting come to that round 3. However, let's take a analysis of these props, right? Of course, Pat Sabatini, minus 180 favorite, plus 155 comeback for Lucas Almeida. I can see that being fair given the grappling advantage. But when we're looking at some of these props, man, TKO plus 265 for Lucas Almeida. Submission plus 235 for Pat Sabatini. I think those, in terms of finishing, it's either TKO Almeida, submission Sabatini. Which is more lucrative on either end?
Ooh, Derick, I think the TKO by Almeida, if it comes in the first couple of rounds, round 1.5, 2, right around there, the TKO for Almeida looks real juicy. But as much as that fight goes on, that plus 235 for Sabatini really looks to be a little more manageable, if you will. Although we have seen the gas tank of Almeida stay up, stay level, stay fueled. Now, my question to you, Derick, plus 1,000 on the TKO for Pat Sabatini, as well as the 1,600 for submission by Lucas Almeida. Don't get me wrong. I think that one's a little more unreachable, if you will. Do we see a ground and pound TKO out of Sabatini camp? And is there serious money right there?
I think there's serious money right there because people rule that out always. If he gets you to the ground and he could stop you with strikes, bro, plus 1,000, like where does that number come from? And I think it's honestly just because if you look at it, Pat Sabatini, historically, he goes for the chokes much more. He's one of those guys, man. You know what I mean? Why waste my time? Look at Gelton Almeida. Why waste my time with the ground and pound when I could just choke you? I could punch you in your face. You're going to open your neck, and I'm just going to choke you. Easy night. What are we talking about? I don't know, man. This is going to be an interesting fight. I'll tell you this much, though. I think someone's getting finished. I have a hard time seeing this one go to a decision unless Sabatini grinds it out the whole fight and doesn't take any risks because he really wants that win. Even though I see him as that type of competitor, I also see him as hailing from the great state of Pennsylvania. Those Philly boys got some pride behind them. Give me that submission, man. Give me a Pat Sabatini submission, and I actually want it early, man. Give me late first round.
Ooh, Derick, I like it, brother. I like it, man. Me personally, I'm going with that TKO prop. Give me Lucas Almeida. It also early, man. Give me round 1.5. Give me that early round 2. Get a little gas going. And then we'll see some counter lefts coming out of the Almeida camp.
That's right. Let me actually pull something up really fast, bro, because I want to see just what the number is. I had it off the top. All right, real quick. AJ, freestyle for me real quick while I pull it up. Give me like 10 seconds.
There we go, folks. You heard the freestyle. No, seriously, going into this one, folks, it is a very close fight. I know it says minus 180, plus 155 for the Almeida. Me personally, while breaking down these fights, I think this is even money going into it. You ask a lot of the professionals out there, they will say this fight is very, very close. And not to say Sabatini doesn't have the skills on the feet to be able to outmaneuver, outwit Almeida, but I do think he's a more well-rounded fighter. And like we said before in a segment, not always the best fighter wins on that night. It's the best fighter of that night that gets it done. Derick, what you got?
Right. So I wanted to pull up the over and under on this one just to see what the odds makers were thinking on this. And I mean, if you had to guess, what do you think the over and under is?
1.5.
2.5. However, if we're looking at odds, plus 110 for the over, minus 140 for the under on 2.5 rounds. So they're thinking that this one does get done within the distance. And it's actually... yeah, that's an interesting one right there, man. I'm a little surprised. I thought the numbers would be a little different than that. But, I mean, fair play. So, with that being said, I like Sabatini. AJ likes Almeida. Someone going to sleep. That just makes a fun fight, you know. All right, folks. Moving on down the docket. This right here, folks, I have to let you know, like, if this was, I'm happy they put it on the main card, because if this was a prelim, me and AJ might have to go into the parking lot to scrap for who gets sleeper rights. You feel me? Like, this is one of those types of matchups. You got a nasty Mexican striker, Manuel Torres, ready to go. And I promise, I messed up his name earlier in the show. You get another big win like you did against Frank Camacho, nobody gonna forget that name no more, right? However, Iron, Nikolas, Motta, baby, come on. You got two dudes who are willing to put it all on the line and get each other out of there quick, man. The only difference is, there's a little bit of a size discrepancy between these guys, right? Let me see. 73-inch reach for Torres, 70 for Motta. And if we're looking at height, we're looking at 5'9", 5'10". Okay, kind of similar. For whatever reason, Manuel Torres, when you look at him, even on TV, he just looks big. He looks really big. And Motta looks really not big. But maybe it's because he fought Cameron Van Camp in his last fight, and that dude's huge. So, I mean, what is your impression of this matchup? Striker versus striker? Is it deeper than that? What do you think?
I think it's dog versus dog, Derick, in this one, man. I'm excited for this fight, and I agree with you. Manuel Torres looks bigger, looks longer on screen, when he's fighting, because I think he fights that kind of way, man. He's a little more lanky. He has the reach. He knows how to use his distance. Whereas Motta, man, this dude's basically a pit bull. big neck, big shoulders. He's going to get in there and scrap. And that's why we love this fight, bro. This one is going to be fireworks. If this one goes to a decision, Derick, we are going to have to go out in the parking lot and scrap, because this is a fun fight right here, brother. There's no way I see this one going to a decision. I mean, you can see the props right there. I guess the submission and the decision are a little bit, similar at least, but man, this one has had me literally all day just staring at my phone watching fights, just because it's exciting, bro. Both of these dudes come to bring it every single fight. I don't see too many backward steps taken unless somebody's wobbled. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, I think that going back to the reason why I think Manuel Torres looks so big is because he has a very upright stance, very tall in his fight stance, right? He's not put Mike Tyson style like Motta, tall, and he knows how to stick those shots. He has that classic, like Irene Aldana, like you were mentioning, who was it, Cormier, that was talking about the L that she does on her hooks. He does the same thing. You want to throw a nice, crispy, fundamental technical hook, it's that L shape, straight line, boom, you come straight over. It's not this big, long, all the way, it's never going to get there, right? Torres, the way he pieced apart, you have to admit, Frank Camacho is not in the prime of his career anymore, right? So it's not the most impressive victory in the world, but to finish Frank Camacho the way that he did, I thought that was pretty damn impressive, right? So the question is going to become, if this is fire versus fire, both of these dudes punch with an explosiveness that is almost unmatched. So is it a matter of just like who lands first? Are they going to open up and trade, or are we going to see the thing that we hate to see, but two very exciting prospects who respect each other's power too much? So then they just have a little out at distance war. What do you think?
I don't think Motta is going to take a backward step here at all, Derek. I think Motta, as much as he might respect the power, I think he's going to fear the counter-striking of Torres a little bit. So if there's any hesitancy going into that, it's right there. Absolutely, Torres is scared of the power of Motta. Everybody should be in the lightweight division because, like I said, this is a pit bull in there, and he throws everything from the hip with bad intention. So do I think we're going to end up in a kind of point-style Stephen Thompson-esque fight? I don't think so, Derek. I just don't think that's why I said dog versus dog. I don't think that's in either of these guys when the punches get thrown. Maybe that's what the coaches are going to be shouting from the side. But when you're in there, you're locked in there with another dude trying to take your head off, sometimes it's hard to not try to give him that exact same thing right back.
You know what, man? I'm going to tell you this much. I think that I'm a big fan of Nicolas Motta. When he came on Dana White Contender Series, I was like, this dude is going to be a star, right? But the one thing that really gives me pause about this matchup is exactly what you just mentioned. Do you remember how he got clipped against Jim Miller, right? Why do you get clipped? It's because you're so willing to bite down on the mouthpiece and go, you get caught in one of those big, long combinations. And Manuel Torres is a guy who really does strike me as being able to hit you with that nice counter, time it perfectly, and give you the right amount of pop, get you out of there. So I think if they're going to go straight tit for tat, no takedowns, because both of these guys got a 0 takedown average in the UFC. Like, if they're going to go straight tit for tat striking matchup, man, I think that this will be a barn burner back and forth. But I think Torres will reign supreme simply because he is, in fight style, from what I've seen, even in his older fights, just a touch more composed within himself. He won't let himself get out of his comfort zone in terms of overextending crazy wild combinations. Everything is really tight, really crisp, and boom, point A to point B. Anything else on this one, or do you want to go on to picks?
I'm just excited to see the Torres 1-2 come down the pipe while Motta is literally pushing forward, bro, because that's going to be a key right here. Yeah, the left hook is scary, like Derek said, proficient, technical, but that 1-2 is smooth out of the Torres camp.
I'm telling you, though, man, those hooks, the way that he lands it at such an effective clip, it's kind of surreal because he slips it right past the guard, right? So your hand is up blocking your face, and he slips it right in, like right there onto the chin. Whew, getting cracked. Oh, I thought I had my hands up. I guess not. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, listen, one thing about, look at the pictures, folks, on the screen. Motta got a big head, and that's to take those big shots, bro. You're not going to go down without a fight. All right, man, let's give our picks. Is it obvious? Manuel Torres, TKO? Maybe it's too obvious. What do you think?
Yeah, it might be too obvious, Derek, and that's why I'm going with it as well. Give me Manuel Torres, TKO. Woo, and you know what, dog? I'm going early, round 1.
I mean, if this is the war that we expect it to be, if they don't come out and show each other any respect, yeah, it has to. It has to. All right, folks, there you had it. You heard it here first. However, do not take our analysis with the interpretation of any disrespect towards Nicolas Motta, because if there's anything that you need to respect, it's the power, the chin, the dog in Nicolas Motta. It's a bad man right there. All right, bro. Now the fight to open up the card. Interestingly enough, Nicolas Dalby, he gets back after a big split decision, very close victory against Warley Alves. He gets back against Muslim Salikhov, who I would say avenged his knockout loss in the best way that you can do it. How about I go knock out the big scary guy that nobody wants to fight, Andre Fialho, right? And now it aged a little poorly because Fialho got knocked out by Buckley, but before that knockout, Fialho was winning that fight, so let's leave it that there. All right, man, you got a karate style, Nicolas Dalby, big breath, right? And then you got Muslim Salikhov, man, who could wrestle. He could kick your head off. I think he just has more tools, man. How does this fight play out?
A lot more tools than the tool belt can Salikhov pull from. But Dalby, there's some mysterious aura that Dalby has to the fight community, man, because it seems like nobody knows who this dude is. But if you look at it, he's been fighting forever. I mean, you just look at the hit list. He has some serious people on there. D-Rod, Tim Means, Claudio Silva, Warley Alves. There's a lot of other Alex Oliveira. Like, there's some fights that he has seriously been in and just does not get the notoriety. So if Salikhov can really come in here, underestimate Dalby, underestimate the technique he has, because as the king of Kung Fu, the Kung Fu master, what's his nickname, Derek?
I think it's the king of Kung Fu. I think it's king of Kung Fu. Yeah.
If the king of Kung Fu can come in against the karate specialist, which also, Kung Fu, and he thinks, I got this dude all day long. I know so many more tricks. Dalby has some stuff he can pull out of that toolbox himself. Now, how over under, Derek, how often do you think they're going to get a takedown? Because for me, I don't really see this as much of that unless somebody gets hurt. I think we're in for a striking clinic right here, and it's why it's the first fight on the main event. What do you think?
I think Salikhov 100% will mix it up at least once in this fight with the takedown. I think that's part of his game, man. That's what he does well. Why not? Nicolas Dalby got really good takedown defense, but he's at his best when he can karate style, blitz, clinch, get back out. It's kind of like the old school Klitschko style. There we go. Jab and clinch. Just right hand clinch, jab and clinch, you know what I mean? And it's boring and nobody wants to watch it, but Nicolas Dalby is effective. Now, one thing that you did say that I think that people need to just take into consideration, I know my man Dalby looked good over here, you feel me? He looked nice, young, and spry. Salikhov looked a little weathered on his end. Salikhov is like 39, and Dalby's like 38. Like, these guys are like the same age. So we, in terms of age, we can kind of, get that out of the conversation here. I think what it comes down to, man, is that is an unassuming fighter. Muslim Salikhov, I think, is a better striker than Nicolas Dalby. And I think that's the best thing that Nicolas Dalby brings to the table is his striking. So if you're outgunned in the striking and then you're outgunned in the wrestling, it makes sense why you're a plus 170 underdog here, right?
100%, Derek. Now, the one X factor that goes into that, you're outpointed on the striking. You're outmaneuvered on the grappling. He's just a step ahead of you. But when it comes down to it, does Nicolas Dalby have the dog in him to say, fuck the blitz attack, fuck the karate, I'm going in, I'm going to put some knuckles to this dude's chin? Yeah, I think he can. That's where I think this fight gets a little closer than plus 170, minus 200. Nicolas Dalby almost has something that he has never even come close to attaining that is almost attainable in this fight. You knock out Salikhov, who has a hit list like he does. You can jump on the mic and really start clamoring and speaking for yourself, promoting yourself going forward. If Dalby can do that, bro, then we start talking right here. Not saying he's going to jump into the top 15, not saying he's going to be making moves like that. But at least now you're not relegated to unnotoriety, if you will.
Well, this is what I will say, man. I've been a backer of Nicolas Dalby for a while, and even though I profited off of his win over Daniel Rodriguez, a lot of people thought he lost that fight. So if you take that into consideration, if he lost that fight, he would be 2-2 in his last 4 coming into this fight, while Salikhov has been on a tear of tears. You know what I mean? Yeah, he got knocked out by the leech, but so be it. So I'm just going to say this, man. I love me some Nicolas Dalby. I think he's got the dog in him, but I do also think that Muslim Salikhov is the fighter you should be backing in this fight. I think that he gets it done. I think Dalby makes it difficult, but I think he squeezes out a plus 165 convincing decision. Muslim Salikhov, fair play. What do you think?
I like that one, Derek. I like it. That's what I was thinking at first, too. I don't think Nicolas Dalby will be so outskilled on the feet that we're going to see a KO. But just for switching it up a little bit, brother, that's what I'm going to take. Give me the KO. Folks, you heard it here, man. That Muslim Salikhov, the safer bet is the decision. I do think Nicolas Dalby can stand in there. But I'm going to mix it up a little bit, bro. I'm feeling spicy over here. Give me that plus 200 TKO prop. Give it to me round 2 as well.
My man feeling spicy out there in Austin, Texas, eating some barbecue with the spice on it. Let's go, baby. All right, man. Well, with that being said, folks, we are running out of time and we haven't hit our coveted sleeper section. So what we're about to do is we're about to break down some sleepers, folks. Let's talk about it.
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
All right, folks. So given that this is the section where we try to give you our 60-second bar pitch, we're really short on time here, so we're really going to give you the 60-second, if not a 30-second bar pitch. I'm going to kick it off, and I want to talk about the flyweight division. We got Jimmy the Brick Flick fighting Alessandro Costa. Now, if you look at Costa, he came in against his last fight against Amir Albazi, and he just had a short notice replacement. What are you talking about? This dude's a KO artist. He's coming in here for violence, but he had to make his way in. Well, now you get a grappler in Jimmy the Brick Flick, who's going to be full steam, guns ahead. Both dudes coming off of a loss. I expect a submission or a knockout in this fight. I'm favoring Alessandro Costa, but you can never count out Jimmy Flick, because if you remember this fight against, I think it was Cody Durden, the flying triangle, beautiful right there. That's what I got. Don't believe me? Well, don't tune in, but you should, because this is the fight that you need to watch. AJ, what do you think about it? And then let's move on to your sleeper. What you think about that one, bro?
Ooh, I like this fight, Derek, and you're leaning a little Costa. I'm leaning a little Flick on there, brother, because this is a very, very close fight. Now, I got another one that's in the same vein, brother. More of a submission specialist in Kyuho Kong, Mr. Perfecto, versus, Christian Quinones, an absolute knockout artist with some serious weight in his hands. And that's why I like this one, folks. Derek, if you scroll down a little bit, you see a lot of the people right there. Tapology, 79% going for Quinones. But the number I want you to pay attention to is that 30 by KO. This one is going to end in a finish, folks, whether it's a KO from Quinones or if you go look at Kong, this dude has like 6, 7, 8 submissions. I forget how many submissions, but he will be hunting the thing. And why I like this one, Quinones has a tendency to overextend himself. And when you do that against a grappler, they lock you up, put you down, choke you out. That's what Mr. Perfecto, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Perfect, there we go. Kyuho Kong is actually best at, is finding those holes in your game that are exploited by that powerful, explosive striker. That's what makes this fight fun, folks. Look for a knockout, look for a finish. And if you don't believe us, then you need to tune in so that that way you can write it in the comments and say, haha, I told you so. There's only one way to do that, folks. Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
That's it. And that's your sleeper section right there. So given that, I think we can spare another 2 minutes or so before we hop up out of here. Let's talk about a couple of the other fights on the card, because while this is not like the most banging card in the world, there's some fighters that you should definitely know about. AJ, we don't got to spend a bunch of time really breaking it down, but I did want to talk about one fight in particular, 2 fights really, but this is the one that I really wanted to talk about. I feel like this is flying way under the radar. Ronnie Lawrence versus Daniel Argueta. Now, some people might know Daniel Argueta from the Ultimate Fighter 30, right? Got relegated out of there, didn't quite make it, had a good story, went out the promotion, won a couple regional championships, and then, came back here, right? However, Ronnie Lawrence is a smothering, grappling submission artist, a dude who, even though he's a very heavy grappling intensive fighter, makes fights exciting here. Do you think this is a runaway fight for Ronnie Lawrence, or do you think Daniel Argueta really can catch a second win? Because this is a tough guy to break back into the UFC against.
This is a very tough guy to be faced against in your entrance back to the UFC, Derek. And I was going to make this a sleeper, but I think Ronnie Lawrence is too smothering, too powerful, and too dominant to actually get against something for Dan Argueta, man. But we have seen this dude perform very, very well. So, you see it, a lot of knockouts, a lot of submissions in LFA. Can he bring that resubmergence into the UFC? That's what makes this fight fun.
And that's your boy right there. Albuquerque, New Mexico, Dan Argueta, the determined one. Here's the craziest thing here. This is an aside. Imagine the one guy to really serve Ronnie Lawrence his loss recently is a guy that the UFC let go. Saad Yokub Kakramanov. That dude is so good, man. I did hear that it was for some ethical reasons. It was not particularly performance related, which is why he got let go. Neither here nor there. All right, one last fight I want to talk to you guys about, and that is Modestas Bukauskas versus Zach Pauga. Now, let's not forget, man, this dude Pauga is good, bro. Yeah, he had to fight the Ultimate Fighter, at a weight class that was not his own. Now he's back in his original weight class. The Ripper likes to clinch you up, hold you against the cage, elbows, and get a win. Modestus Bukauskas, though, says, hey, I'm back in the UFC. I just beat Tyson Pedro, and now I'm ready to just destroy anybody. If you can come back from getting your knee smashed in from Khalil Roundtree and then rip off 3 in a row, 1 by knockout, 2 decisions, Cage Warriors and UFC, I mean, this dude got something on him. What do you think about this one?
Talk about a resurgence, Derick. One of the nastiest knee injuries we've seen, and against a guy who will allow you to kind of start to get to work in Pauga. Now, that being said, for Pauga, if he can change exactly that and put the foot to the gas pedal right off the jump, he's a very dangerous fighter as well. Another reason why it's the first fight of the whole card. They do this for a reason. That way you tune in early so you can watch the whole thing.
I'm going to tell you this much, folks. If y'all forgot about Modestus Bukauskas or you wrote him off, the man is 29 years old on his second stint in the UFC. Zach Pauga's just breaking in. The man 35 years old. Y'all better not sleep on this dude Bukauskas. This dude is good. All right, folks, with that being said, that has been a very complete program here for you at the Bloody Water Podcast. And you see the links down below. The number one thing that I want to talk to you guys about before we get up out of here is that you guys like insight. You like to know what the inside scoop is. And if you want to feel like you're a part of the breakdown and the analysis, you are. This show is nothing without you guys. You got one place that you need to tune in aside from bloodywaterpodcast.com or YouTube Bloody Water Podcast, right? It's this one, middle of the screen. AJ's Twitch, twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber. Now, once upon a time, I was doing some live streaming, very taxing on the mental, right? It takes a lot of energy out of you. But if there's anybody that does it good, it's my man who is on his art hype, playing the games, breaking down fights, giving you multi-levels of entertainment. All I got to say is it's free, folks. What are you doing? Go hit a subscription to twitch.tv/Santa Fe Bomber. AJ, what you got?
Derick said it best, folks. There's multi-levels right there to the entertainment that I'm providing, but the biggest and best thing about it is you are also involved. This isn't sitting back, just chilling, watching, man. You can actually jump in the comment section, have an input, have a say, have a voice, and that's what makes it fun, man. Because not only do you get to, have a back and forth with me talking right there, but some of your comments can make it onto this show. And if you're here watching, I know you're supporting. So that way, man, jump in the comment section. Let us know. And also jump in the comment section here, folks. Let us know how much money you're winning. Or like I said earlier, you get a pick right that we get wrong. No better time to brag about it because you know who holds himself responsible more than anybody. It's the boys right here at the Bloody Water Podcast. And there's a reason why we're your favorite fighter's favorite fight show.
And I will say, I know there's takes that we have sometimes where y'all are screaming at the screen like, y'all are crazy. And I know it because y'all commented sometimes to be like, y'all are out of your fucking mind. What are you talking about? Well, you really want to let us know. There's only one way we can know. Drop a comment, baby. We'll respond. We there right there for you. You know what I'm saying? This is an open forum, open discussion. But with that being said, we are almost at the 60-minute mark. And that's it for us this time, folks. So catch us on Monday for the UFC Vegas 75 post-show breakdown. It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited. I can't wait. That's it for us, folks. And until next time, peace.